Well, ladies and gentlemen, the summer has reached its end, and thus the summer movie season has also. I can't think of a more appropriate movie to end on than, well, The World's End. Well, okay, maybe we can find something more appropriate, but the title really goes. Yes, The World's End, the latest Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost team-up film, which completes one of those rare that you don't see any days. It's technically a trilogy, but they're not related. I think they're calling it the Apocalypse Trilogy or something like that. Which started with Shaun of the Dead, then came Hot Fuzz, which really isn't very apocalyptic. It's just one town with a really, really strict zoning ordinances. And of course, this film, The World's End, which actually is aptly named considering what happened at the end. I'll get into that in a second. So what did I think of it? I liked the film. I enjoyed it. I got a lot of laughs out of it. It was a fun movie to go see. However, if I were to compare it to the other films in its, using air quotes, trilogy, I would say it's the weakest. I had the least fun with this. I think Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead were funnier. Funnier, had some better characters. Easier to get behind characters, I would say. Because kind of outside of Simon Pegg's character, who still remains mostly one note, although we get a little bit, we kind of, you can kind of figure him out in the first couple minutes that he's on screen, what's his complete deal, and where he's going. But he has a bit of an arc, but everyone else is kind of there, doesn't change much. So I think a little weaker than compared to the other two films. I think had much better, more relatable characters. And maybe that's coming from an American. Obviously, this is a movie that was, well, I'm sure they were fully intending to release in the United States as they did, was first and foremost a British movie. So with all that being said, it is a fun movie. I had some good laughs on it. They had some good jokes. A lot of good cameos in this. I guess at this point this trio here has got enough pull that they can actually get some really good people in there, including Pierce Brosnan, James Bond himself, although not that. It's more of a Connery Bond. Himself is in there as a teacher that used to teach them in high school, and they kind of wind up killing him twice. Which funny, because this makes it the second movie in a row that they've killed James Bond. Well, or at least they've done something horrible to his body. If you've seen Hot Fuzz, you know what I'm talking about. If only they had an ex-James Bond in Shaun of the Dead, it would have completed the trilogy in some way. I don't know. Maybe somebody from that cast will one day be Bond. Doubtful, but if they do, it would complete it. Of course, this David Bradley shows up as the town's local crazy guy. Now, if you don't know who David Bradley is, he's Walter Frey from Game of Thrones. He plays the town's conspiracy theorist nut, and he's hilarious in this. Almost every scene, he's funny. But the funny thing is, the first time you saw him, everyone in the theater was like, "Oh shit, Game of Thrones guy, the fucking guy with the red wedding." Not just one person. Multiple people did that. They're like, "Oh fuck, it's that guy." And I wonder if that's a bit of an unintended consequence of that, because he's the one that tells them what's going on. And I think some people in the audience are like, "Dude, I am not trusting that guy. He broke guest rights." But man, if they start playing the Reigns of Castamere, they're fucking dead, man. He's hilarious in this as the conspiracy theorist. He doesn't go conspiracy theorist fully, but that's what they kind of they give him the background as that, and they kind of go with the character if he kind of knows everything. He's exposition guy, but he's hilarious in the role. Anyway, they just get the basic plot. It's you probably get some of the gist. Is, five friends, when they were like their last day of high school, they decided to do this local pub crawl called the Golden Mile. They go to 12 different pubs, and they didn't quite finish it, but the Simon Pegg's character kind of views this as like the height of his life. He really plays a character as probably different terminology in the UK, but in the States we would refer to this as someone who peaked in high school. And that means, the way they look at it, it was the best time. They never went better than at high school. That was, that's when they reached their peak of their life. And what sucks is it's all downhill from there, and it's supposed to be, and he actually says this, this was supposed to be the beginning of my life, and now it's the end of it. And he kind of is, I guess, he's in some sort of support group at the beginning, and this is where he gets the idea to complete this, get his old crew back together, where you can tell he's kind of living in the past. He's living on this, what he perceives as old glory. But yet they really don't explain why he's in there. I am wondering if there's some cut scenes of what this group is. He kind of is he apparently was committed, but we don't know why fully. Was it just severe manic depression? Was it severe alcohol use or drug use or whatever that let him wind up in there? And so he's kind of just really, as his character shows, he's completely stuck in just 1990. That was the height, so he has not evolved since then. And of course, just the tension is he goes to his old friends who are, almost hitting middle age themselves, and they've all moved on with their lives and gone and done different things. They're all kind of mid-level business people, really. Probably the most successful is his one that was close friend. That was probably his craziest friend. Of course, is now a major corporate lawyer with his own firm. So you get, of course, that tension there, and you do kind of wonder at some. Actually, no, he comes up with a really good excuse as he's trying to convince his friends to join him. He basically says that his mom died, so he's thinking about because he can kind of tell he can't get these guys to join him. Well, his main friend. So he makes up that lie, and you buy it. You kind of buy it, okay, because to a certain degree, you kind of go, why would these guys just go with him? This is your weird friend who hasn't evolved past high school coming back and wants you to do this crazy pub call. But he comes up with a good excuse for pretty much all of his friends except for one. He bluffs and says that everyone else is already in, including their one friend who's apparently gone completely teetotaler. And so they kind of, it's that idea. Well, if everyone else, I guess I'm required to go if everyone else is going to go. And of course, for his last friend, the one that probably wouldn't work with, he says his mom died, so this is his coping mechanism. And you buy it. You buy then that they would fall for this type of thing. But it's hilarious. Simon Pegg is funny in this. There, again, not as many jokes, though. It's not as many funny moments as Hot Fuzz or as Shaun of the Dead. So, even though I'm saying it was funny, and he has kind of a hilarious, really outlandish role, where he really is. Everyone else is the straight guy, and he, of course, is the one crazy guy. He's just obsessed with getting this pub crawl done. Despite everything, he is, near the end, there's, robots patrolling the streets looking for him. No one's in the pubs, not even the bartenders. And he is still, running with all of his friends chasing him, trying to get to the pubs and drinking so he can complete this Golden Mile. And somehow convinces them all that they should all, after they come across the first robots, which aren't robots, that they should still continue with the pub crawl, and he somehow convinces them. And this actually is a vital plot point, that he is able to get people to do this. So of course hijinks. So you see the trailer, so you get the idea. These robots are these creatures that have taken over the town, and really what the movie is kind of poking at is corporate structures. They actually make the point of the bars that are being bought out by companies now and making for them franchise, and they're all the same. They're taking in the charm out of them. They're making them all bland. Stuff that I agree with. I mean, especially around here. I guess we're somewhat lucky in that a lot of, since I'm right from across from Seaside Heights, there's a lot of non-brand bars up there, and I always like those much better. They have a much better atmosphere. There's less BS with those. You get better bartenders, I think. Service and food. They really they'll cater to what the local flavor is much more than I worked for Fridays for a short while, and you could tell we had to do all this stupid stuff that, like, I'll put it this is a perfect example, and this is probably kind of what they're hitting at. It's like a Fridays type setup. Is when I worked at Fridays there, it was quite clear that you would get these feedback from these guys out in Texas, and they're the corporate companies designing this long speech. They want to talk to everyone. They want to have this conversation, and that's probably great for people in Texas that really like that as their element. That's not what people want in Jersey. And even though my boss is going, people, because of course she's got to follow the corporate BS as well, and really, because I worked as a host, and they wanted us to go through this whole thing, and the people would just be sitting there and getting really impatient as they're get out. We can't just give us the menus and go, and have the waiter come. And I completely agreed with them. I tended to be the guy to just sat them down and go, because people in Jersey don't want to have those little conversations. They come for food and to talk amongst their friends. They don't want to talk with the staff. That's a local thing. That's a thing to Jersey. That's part of Jersey culture. As much as these corporate structures are trying to do, they don't work. People are still annoyed. That's why we have so many diners around here where they are like that. Although the funny thing is, at the diners, people are probably actually more willing to talk to the waiters and waitresses because it's not forced. But as an example, that's kind of what they're poking at, these companies that are being very subtle, trying to force, really, while not taking over and invading, but strong arming with a smile to force you to go through what they think is better. That's what they're poking fun at here, by literally making them robot, and of course pointing out that robots are actually the term for slave, which is true, by the way. It's a Czech term for slave. Or Hungarian, I forget which. They said Czech, but I thought I read somewhere that it was actually Hungarian. It's kind of difficult because I forget what year it was written in, but I think it was pre-World War I, so that whole area was still part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Anyway, but going on to what they said, their main point is, there is a fun little scene at the first pub they go to. They kind of point out that it's all corporate and franchise now. And then they go to the next pub, and they literally, it's the same exact pub. When they go into it, even though it's a different part of town, they go in, the same exact setup, same exact, it's literally what they did is they just reused the same set, and just changed the name on the door. And it's a good point. It does make that point of why I still don't go to, even though I worked at the Fridays, why I really don't have a desire to go there, because it's the same. So I'm with the message of this movie. So they go through, they eventually realize there's fucking blue robots, and apparently they're alien blue robots. And I love it how the end, because when it comes down to the end, they finally get to the world's end, and it turns out, of course, that that is where the secret entrance to the main base for the aliens is. They go down there and they meet the network, the essential intelligence that's running everything, explaining that Earth is part of one of many worlds, yada yada. We're making it better, and they just have this argument. But I love they take a very good spin on this. Instead of really arguing the aliens on a philosophical level. They make really, really stupid arguments, but they keep on arguing to the point where the great alien intelligence just goes, "There's no arguing with you. Fuck it. We're just gonna leave then. Fine." They don't win. They don't convince them. They just aliens just go, "Fine, fine. You want to sleep? Fine, whatever. Like fuck it." It's like they annoy the aliens to the point where they just leave. They don't win them over in any way. The aliens just get fed up with arguing with the guy and leave the planet. And of course, when they leave, they take all the technology they've been subtly giving the human race, and it's the fucking post-apocalypse then, all of a sudden. Everyone's basically going back to medieval times. Which, part I don't like. I felt that was a little bit too... Even though they're trying to point out with Edgar Wright narrating at the end... Not Edgar Wright, Nick Frost... Kind of going, oh, yeah, it's wonderful. They have the things are actually kind of better. They're simpler now. I'm back with my wife. They kind of go through how everyone's coping with the post-apocalypse. And, it's kind of more of I think Shaun of the Dead took this in a better way with the zombie apocalypse, where they kind of took the zombies and just turned them into really basic, like, manual servants. That one I think was funnier. It had a more positive ending. This one I know they were trying to go for the same style. Again, Half was not really apocalyptic. At the end, the corrupt, crazy police chief and his cronies are dead or in prison, and Simon Pegg is the new chief magistrate in town, or whatever they call him. In this one, it's the world. The world has ended, kind of. It's the post-apocalypse. They're running around in England. He's got swords, and he's given up on alcohol, but he's gonna do. Actually, it kind of ends nice. He goes in with they created like robotic clones. So this is getting into it, of his friends in their high school form, and of course he'd earlier killed the model that was him. And he walks into there with his now buddies, and instead of asking for beer, they ask for water. Like, he's gotten over drinking, but he's still determined to do this Golden Mile, of course, because at that last pub he didn't quite finish the drink. He's found his point, his purpose. So that's basically it. That's the movie in a nutshell. There's that robot. The robot makes no sense. There's like a big robot that's walking around. It's part of a modern art statue, but like I thought, okay, that's going to be the central machine. That's the true robot, or the true alien robot that's controlling everything. And I guess they kind of threw you off with that, because I was assuming some sort of confrontation. They'll do the stereotypical, you take out that robot, and then all of a sudden, all the other robots go dead. And all the people come out of town, or the storage unit, whatever. That's what I was predicting it was going to be. Turns out, no. Turns out, we're just going to destroy the world. They might have done that more to, like, just signify, okay, this is the end of this trilogy that's not really a trilogy. A trilogy of completely unrelated movies taking place in completely unrelated worlds. So, in the end, do I recommend the film? Yeah, check it out. It's the last film of the summer. So, it goes out on a nice note. It's, of course, the end of summer, so it's not like there's a... it always goes out with a whimper. And, not the strongest of films, but it's a decent one to go out on. Okay, it does actually feel more like it should be a winter film, but what you gonna do? So next week I will, even though technically we got a Labor Day weekend here in the States, at least next week, which is culturally kind of signifies the end of summer. That's where our schools. Yeah. If you wonder why I'm explaining this, I do have a good number of people from overseas. So. Here in the States, Labor Day is kind of marked as the unofficial end of summer. After that, people, kids are back at school, and within the next couple weeks, it starts to get colder and colder out to the point where you can't go to the beach as much. You have to start wearing the fleece outside. So Labor Days are end, and for whatever reason, there's nothing ever big comes out on Labor Day. So I will probably do my summer retrospective this coming week, where I'll kind of give an overview. What do I think of this summer's movie season? What I think was my favorite movie of the summer. Yeah, the usual thing that I've done the past couple of years. Probably a good thing I'll be doing that because in my own life, got a little crazy this past week, but it's the good kind of crazy. It's nice to have the problems I'm having right now, in that I might have a new potential job offer after I just started my current job 3 months ago. It figures you spend 2 years after college really trying to find a good permanent career-starting job in a really bad economy, and now that you get one, all of a sudden you get another offer. And the other one, if I get this position, which I won't talk about or into details here, would be a higher paying position with much better benefits and looks like even a pension, like a real pension too. So, I just gonna have to feel guilty on leaving another job, which I actually really, really enjoy after only 3 months. But yeah, gotta make the moves. The other thing is it's a bit more of a commute too. Ugh. But if I get it, I'll talk more on that. It shouldn't affect me doing reviews or anything at all, really. So I just add basically a 30 extra minutes onto my driving at the beginning and end of the day. So, hey, but better paying job, so maybe finally get around to buying that digital camera. Of course, there's always other little expenses that come along, so maybe one day we'll have a little bit better setup. As for trailers, not really anything new or spectacular that I saw. Really thinking, there's that Gordon Joseph Levitt movie, which it looked like they took a cast member from the Jersey Shore and just made a movie about them. Looks fucking pointless. As someone from Jersey, it's like, what, really? No. Although, I know someone that I might be tempted to go and review the movie with me if I can get. She probably won't. I'll leave that one if they ever review it. If probably not going to happen. But oh god, if I got her to do it, because she's a family friend. I'm not going to say who it was. Let's just say it's someone that you might have seen on multiple episodes of the Jersey Shore. That's it. I'm not going to answer who that is, but that would be hilarious. Of course, for that very same reason, she would probably absolutely refuse. She's going to see the preview and go, fuck, I'm not seeing that. Nothing. Captain Phillips again, which again, really, really, the trailer looks great. The name again, that name I can't stand it. They do it with such a stupid title, but at least the new Captain Phillips trailer, it looks really interesting in that looks like in the movie they will examine a little bit of this dynamic and really go with the pirates and their psychology and why they're doing what they're doing, why they took it to the extreme that they did when they did get cornered. So good, and I think that might be good if they do it right. That's a very good character piece. Shows maturity on the writing. The Fifth Estate, which looks interesting to say the least. I don't agree with everything Julian Assange does, but at the same time, some of the more recent leaks make you a little bit. Maybe we do need someone to watch the Watchers, as Alan Moore would put it, although Alan Moore was stealing from somebody else when he took that line. Um, that might actually look good. And there's also Cumberbatch. And Cumberbatch is really freaking good as an actor, so definitely worth checking out. I might see the Fifth Estate now that I actually sat and saw the trailer. And though I didn't play on this, I did see the trailer for Pompeii online, and that looks interesting to say the least. It is Paul W.S. Anderson, though I don't necessarily dislike his work. He's getting away. Yeah, we'll see how he does. It's not a Resident Evil film. I don't see Milla Jovovich anywhere, so we'll see how he does with this. I mean, the cast looks good when I look at the IMDb casting, so maybe he's like, okay, maybe he decided, you know what, I gotta go up to the next level. I have a $1 billion franchise, but it's like a B-level franchise, so we'll see what he does. Either that or just, dude, go full Caligula. Alright, well, it's been 26 minutes. Final movie of the summer. Yeah, go check it out. It's getting slow. You have nothing else to do, right? You're bored. Go see it. Go waste a couple hours to do that. Get a delicious soda while you're at it. This is like, I kind of restrict myself only when I go to the theater now is when I let myself get soda, so gotta enjoy that. And that's it. Fall is coming up. Riddick is the big one I'm waiting to see in the fall, but plenty of horror movies and such to also catch. See you guys then. If you like the review, please subscribe. If you didn't like the review, you can subscribe still. Like, share it with friends, all the other spiel. Signing off.